Hello.
Is anybody out there?
Hello?
Anybody?
Hello?
Help!
You're not supposed to be here. We're in quarantine.
Get up.
Please.
America.
Get up.
Pod world. Pew, 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 pew. We're back.
Hello.
Is that you guys? Is that y'all?
Hello, it's me.
I need you to get 6 feet away from me, please.
Are we right? I think we're good.
I think we're
pretty solid.
We got a good
right where
social
we're
distance
supposed to
between
be
each
at.
other.
This is very good.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to your favorite podcast. It is Nights at the Round Table. We back up in here one more time. What's good?
What up, y'all? Reporting live from the fucking quarantine, right?
From the fucking quarantine. We are
the
out.
pits of the shit.
Right. It's your girl, Coley. We in here. It's been very interesting. Who all over here with me?
This your boy Esquire. I'm here one more time in the quarantine center.
Yes.
Hey guys, it's Naji. I drug my black ass over here from Crosstown, and it was scary. Everything looked like The Walking Dead.
Oh God, no, Carl.
No. Yeah.
Walker's at D.
Yeah.
These are interesting times we're living in. By the time you all hear this, we might be in a new quarantine center.
These are dark times.
Yes.
But your ministry remains strong.
Fantastic.
I hope this message finds everybody well.
Every single one of
this
you.
podcast
Please.
episode.
How are y'all doing out there?
People are hunkered down.
My word.
I hope you dance.
I hope you dance.
It has been like a very interesting time. Like we're out here. We're working from home. Like, raise your hand out there if you're working from home, wherever y'all are. I hope that you know, it's Saturday now, but like, I hope y'all work from home. I hope you don't have to go to work on Monday. Like, it's not safe.
Raise your hand if you know how to work from home.
Oh,
Yes.
we did discover this week that there are some people who
Yes.
do not know how to work from home properly.
So
Yes.
can you guys just give me a quick rundown? How do you work from home? Like, I've done it for a while, but I do it, in isolation more so.
Yes.
How do you work from home? Dare I say a work from home party?
You know-
how does that work?
Well, the important thing is to know the schematics of your technology,
Touche.
because you
good.
have to be able to be available.
Yes,
The appearance of being available is what's necessary.
That's true.
Working from
That's
home.
true.
You're actually available.
Oh yeah, well yeah, I am available
You
if
have to
needed.
make sure that you're available.
Yes.
When working from home.
I can speak to people if need to be.
On the outside looking in,
Yes.
you are absolutely available
Completely.
if you're
Yes.
there. I think you also have to make sure you have your music working because
You need
that's
tunes.
important.
You need tunes.
Tunes. And if you've gone to the liquor store,
Yeah.
you've stocked up a little bit.
Yeah.
These are troubling times. You might get thirsty.
Definitely.
A lot of companies have like a rule where you can have a certain amount of beverages.
That's true. That's true.
It's legal. You know what I'm saying?
Very
It is.
true.
Especially in your
Very true.
house. Especially in your house.
Make sure you check
Yes.
with your HR.
Yes.
And
Yes.
then kind of see where they go from there. That sounds about right. That sounds about right.
I think some HR can probably be bribed also, depending on what you're drinking.
That's true.
It might be all right.
As long as it's not on a recorded line, probably so.
You know what else is necessary?
Talk to me.
A good playlist. You've got to have a good playlist.
You gotta
when
find
you're working
you gotta
from home
find
at
your
a
number.
party.
Yes.
You gotta find your number when
Yes.
you're working from home.
Absolutely. Because what else are you going to do? Besides for work. So everybody needs that ambiance, that background noise, because you're not able to hear people talking in the cubicles
There's no
anymore.
chatter.
Correct.
Exactly.
Correct.
So you might as well have people singing. So it makes sense to do that. Yes.
No naps. Just singing.
No naps. I guess. Well, I don't know.
Lunch naps. Lunch naps are divine.
I'm gonna say I need a good nap.
Work from home. For those of you who are new to this work from home game, work from home lunch naps are legitimately amazing.
Well, I took a nap today when working from home, so it's very different from the work from home party we had. But today I was like, I'm kind of tired. Go ahead and turn the volume up on this notification level, and let's go ahead and slink down into this couch a little bit and see how that goes.
Actually, I don't even have to do that. I just normally I've already had my lunch. Probably at like 11.
Yeah. Because you didn't take the lunch. You just ate the lunch.
So by the time 12 or 1 rolls around, if I'm away for an hour or something like that,
That
I'm
makes
just thinking
sense.
I'm on lunch.
Yes.
Yeah.
I wore my Apple Watch today. That helped me also to remain connected. So maybe if you have the ability to wear some sort of device like that, it notified me when I needed to be aware of something happening. So that was helpful for me, because otherwise I would have the tendency to just like not.
I got you.
So, for those of you out there working from home, let us know. Hit us up. Tell us how you work from home. We can give you some tips, some pointers. If you're throwing a work from home party, hit us up. We'd love to come down, check you out. Bring our laptops and our music and our drinks.
Are y'all fully stocked for this coronavirus thing?
I'm going to have to go ahead and get
so.
a couple more things, I think.
Do you have any sanitizer?
I discovered new hand sanitizer in my room the other day. So, yes.
What about you, Naji?
I want to say Mrs. Naji has a plethora of hand sanitizer. We have Clorox wipes.
Yes.
Bleach, the Lysol, the run-of-the-mill stuff.
I don't have any hand sanitizer. I got all that other stuff like the Clorox wipes and whatnot. I ended up finding myself ordering like the hand soap, the little foamy thing without the, I don't know how much alcohol is in that, but it smells nice. Yeah. So I hope it works.
Oh, those of you, if you're looking for gloves, shout out to Nancy, who, which I'm sure maybe someone has thought about it. I did not. I've been looking for gloves and I couldn't find any online or anywhere else. She went to the beauty supply store today, in which they had a whole friggin' row stack of latex gloves.
I probably need to get it before this airs.
Yes.
Since you're giving helpful tips.
I just never thought about it, and I was like, that makes so much sense. Also,
because you put the perm in, you gotta have your hand covered.
And hardware stores apparently have them as well. A
They
friend of
do.
mine told me that. So untraditional places to find the things that you need. And the gloves, I think that's a great. If I have the gloves, I feel like I can exist a little better out in public, going to the grocery stores, doing things. I like that idea better.
Did she buy the gloves?
She did.
Okay.
Yes. Although they are small, so I don't think that'll be working out for you. I would give you some. I'd give everyone, but it's not going to work. They're actually kind of tight on my hand.
Yeah, I have big monkey hands, so I gotta get in where I fit in. Ooh, eat.
Literally.
Is anyone out there making quarantine babies? I saw a post earlier today that said, be careful when making quarantine babies because you cannot claim them on your taxes until 2022.
Correct.
Oh shit.
And they will also fall.
Preemies.
Correct.
Unless they're preemies.
And their birthday and Christmas will be in the same month if you're not careful.
Who wants to be conceived in this moment like this?
In times like these.
I mean, shout out to some friends of mine whose baby was born on Monday. That's gonna be a strong baby. They were born right here in the thick of the bullshit.
Oh god!
Shout out to y'all. That baby gonna be good.
My little cousin was born on Monday too.
Fantastic to the babies being born in the virus.
Jesus, keep your hands on them. Whatever it takes.
If y'all out there quarantining, chilling, be advised.
Pull out at least once.
Pull out. Only hit it from the back. Like, don't be coughing in her face.
No. That's when you get it.
How is that when you get
lost?
it?
That's when you get lost. You forget to pull out.
Okay, but if you get real excited and you in her face like that, then what good is that?
She can swallow it.
Oh,
are you
the virus?
No. You just shoot her in the mouth.
Well, we talk about passing all that.
Oh, you talking about face to face, not like dick to face.
No.
See, I thought you talking. Okay, so you maybe you said hit it from the back, and I thought you were talking about
you're
other
not facing
sexual
each other's
positions.
mouths.
Are you talking about social distancing while you're having sex?
Fucking.
I don't think that
Their torso isn't 6 feet long.
That doesn't go.
Well.
So that means you're gonna have like a fucking ball gag and a muffler on top of your mouth.
Discover new ways to do it. Okay,
Right.
That's what time it is.
Right.
Put it in her ass by accident. She coughs and you kick her out. You got to go.
You are
That's
you are
exactly
legitimately fucking her in a trash bag. That's what this is.
Put a curtain between y'all. Like have a curtain closed and her ass is sticking out.
The latex curtain.
Wow, that's the social distancing is not going to work.
It's like a glory hole, but a glory curtain.
A glory curtain.
A glory curtain.
A glory curtain.
Okay.
That's what it is.
You heard it here first, people. A glory curtain.
Somebody's gonna try that shit too.
Y'all let us know how it goes.
Fucking,
Hit us
that
up.
fucking shower curtain.
Don't take any pictures, but let us know how it went. Fantastic. I like that. Well, y'all be safe out there. Like, please take care of yourselves. It's not good. We'll check back in with y'all on your coronavirus as the days go on. Let us know how y'all are doing out there. If you got some new tactics for working from home, keeping yourself busy, social distancing, y'all do that. Keep us posted on it.
Yeah.
But speaking of work from home and shenanigans that go with that, what are we drinking on this evening?
What are you drinking, Naji?
I have nothing.
Oh God!
It is
you have a water bottle?
completely
No
empty.
I have
Mystic.
absolutely nothing.
On that side.
Do we need to pause so you get you some water or something?
No,
You
I'm
normally
okay.
have water.
I'll get it when we pause or something. I'll go get something.
All right.
But I had to come down here away from. I have FOMO, guys, and so I have to fear of missing out.
Yes.
So whenever things are happening, if I need to do something else, I can't be in the shits when I have to remove myself. And I'm learning this thing about me, I didn't, and then I ended up talking to y'all up to fucking steps anyway.
It's fine. It's fine. We understand.
and I didn't get anything to drink.
okay.
I'll take a couple shots of this air over here. It
That's
looks
good.
like it's
That's good. It's sanitized.
yeah, okay,
You know.
cool.
Well, I am drinking an English porter from a local brewery called Armored Cow Brewing. They brew it right here in North Carolina. Love that place for one. It's a really cool brewery. I like them. And they had a drive-up window today, or walk-up, drive-up, whatever you want to call it. You could roll up there and request whatever beer you wanted. They would either put it in a growler for you or in cans of 4. So shout out to them. They're a really cool place if you live in the area. Check them out. They've always got good food, good games, shenanigans going on over there. Once everything clears, they're a good staff of people over there.
Shining the nuggets.
What are you drinking on, Esquire?
I also am drinking from the Armored Cow Brewing. Did my little drive up before I came over here, and I got the 49er. What is that? Like a wheat beer?
It is. I believe it's a wheat.
It's a wheat-based beer. It's really good. It's on the bottom of the barrels of the beers they offer, but I didn't get a chance to try out the other ones. I just got what I knew.
49er's good, though.
It is really good.
Yes.
How many bottles of beer were there on the wall?
99 bottles
There?
of beer.
99 bottles of beer. You take one down and swish
Pass it around.
Chug it on
Well,
down.
don't pass it around because we don't have time for that.
Don't pass,
There's no social
don't pass
distancing.
that
There's no
shit.
communion going on
Please
right
don't
now.
pass that shit.
We're not doing that. But that's what we're drinking on. We're a little bit lighter. After our work from home party got a little lit, Esquire and I have to dial it back just a little bit.
It was a little lit yesterday.
So much work being done. But as another edition of your work from home parties is finding your note. And what are we listening to?
I'll go last.
Ooh, okay.
Okay, well, I'll go first. I am listening to a young man called McClenny. This is kind of like an older, I won't say an older album, but it's a EP that came out last year. I discovered him on Apple Music, and with so much music,
Can I see the cover? 'Cause I
if you
think I know
don't
what
hit
you're
the
talking
save, you'll lose it. So the EP is called "I'm Not Here." It only has about 5 songs on there, but he has some notable songs such as "Love in the Sky," "Art of the Loner." Matter of fact, the whole fucking EP is only 5 songs. But I like him. He's a good little artist that goes along. So if you like some good acoustic type sounds and some good singing, some good R&B, I think he's a good person for you.
Fantastic. I have been rocking out almost at least once a day to Jhené Aiko's new album Chilombo, which I saw today is the #1 album on the R&B and pop charts for now. So shout out to her and her tour, which can't be had right now. It's sold out. So she's sold out, but she will not be doing it just yet.
Sold out, but it will be refunded here in the next
Right.
week.
I enjoy Jhené Aiko. Everybody, she's not for everybody, but I think this album, if you're one of those out there who feel like she makes sleepy music, you're only half right on this album. She puts the sleepy songs in the middle of the other songs for you, so you won't ever actually get to go all the way to sleep.
That's good. That's good.
Notable tracks are BS, featuring our favorite here at the round table, her, and Lightning and Thunder, featuring our other favorite, the one and only Jean Legend. Not from Les Miserables, John Legend. Both of those are 2 of my favorites on the album. It's a lot of good stuff on there. So y'all check it out. If you want to check it out, if you like it, see how it go. It sounds good. It rides nice. And her on any track is fantastic.
Correct.
That's good. It is a good album.
So for me, I have 2.
Oh, sure.
One is something that would never make any playlist, but for the young person who made that Cardi B coronavirus,
Coronavirus.
that entire thing is
Oh,
gold.
gosh.
It is pure gold.
Apparently, it's charting.
Yeah,
It
said,
should.
Did
It's
you see what she
charting.
said? She said, "Let me call my manager so I can get my coins." What is this?
I
It's
didn't see
charting.
that part.
It's charting on like iTunes
she
or
put that on
something.
her. Because she
didn't
put
know.
a picture of it when it was charting on iTunes. She screenshot it. She said,
On
"Let me call
iTunes,
my
I can
manager
find it on
so I can
iTunes.
see if I can get my my manager involved so I can get my money."
I think it's in the top 100.
Yes,
Really, I'm gonna have to look that up.
it was low, like in the 90s, but it was in there.
It's in there.
That shit's a bop. And when Bugs Bunny starts going off, that's when I literally started to lose it. But my true find your note is pure nostalgia. I was having a conversation with someone this week, and she said, you know who doesn't get a lot of credit for what they do is the Dream. And I was just like, wait. And I was like, I guess the Dream is around a lot of things. Then I hearkened back to his Love Hate album, his first album, I do believe, right?
Love hate.
Yeah.
Yes.
07.
Very first.
Yes.
And I started it,
Love Hate had bangers, yo.
top to bottom, inside and out. And I was like, you know what? And I was like, maybe it's because I was really hyped because of where I was in 2007. And around that time, I was like, maybe that's what it was. Maybe it'll wear off. It didn't. It didn't wear off at all. I listened to this album like 3 times in a row, just letting it ride. And I was just like, you know what? For those of you who have never heard this album before, go do yourself a service and listen to it. Some notable
You got nothing but
tracks.
time right now.
Exactly. Find your note.
Why not? Do it now.
Shorty is the shit featuring
Yes.
Fabulous. It's always a
Shawty
classic.
rock to the beat for your boy.
I Love Your Girl.
Oh, that's my joint
Yes.
from start to finish.
Listen, Fast Car. I forgot I liked Fast Car. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Nikki used to be my fucking joint, yo.
Nigga, that was my next statement.
Making love to Nikki.
So and I thought about it because I was listening. I was like, I didn't pay attention to how much of this album had like transitions towards the end. The transition between the songs I always paid attention to, but the song itself has like 2 different beats for a lot of them because it transitions to another song. And it's like,
Nice.
I was like, Drake and Chris Brown, that was one of the big things. I was like, damn, Dream did this shit. Was that 13 years ago?
A long time ago, bro. And don't forget that purple lipstick.
Oh my purple kisses,
Purple
kisses.
lipstick too. That works too.
That
We know what
too.
you mean.
That too.
Falsetto, She Needs My Love.
That whole
She
album,
needs
bro.
my love. She needs my love.
Playing in her hair,
man.
love songs. Ditch That was my shit.
That album. Oh god.
I named everything except for the last 2.
That is
Living a Lie
fantastic.
featuring Rihanna.
I love that shit.
And
we
Mom.
out here living a lie.
Oh man.
These 12 songs are fucking gold. At least 11 of them.
No, this is good. When you put it in the group chat, I noticed it like briefly because it was on my watch, so I didn't realize which album it was until
She
just now
ignored
when
me,
you said
guys.
it.
What she just said was
I
that
saw
she
the
ignored
dream
me.
and I just chuckled. I was like, "Of course you would, Naji. This is exactly what you would do." But I didn't know which one it was until just now. I couldn't tell by the cover.
Well
Yeah.
done, young man. Well done.
Very good,
That album is pure gold.
fantastic. That was my senior year in college. It was a great time for me. Great memories attached to that album.
That was your senior year in college?
Yes, because I'm 30 years older than you. If you don't remember,
I keep forgetting what year you graduated. Like, damn.
But see, the album came out the end of her junior year, beginning of her senior year, or that summer, somewhere in there. It's
Yeah.
the beginning part of her senior year. So don't let her make it seem like she's 1,000 years older than us. She ain't like a real
Well,
dinosaur.
that is what he does to me.
I'm
He
just-
likes to make it seem that I'm decrepit, and y'all are somehow
no,
like
no.
babies.
No, I believe that you're more experienced than us in
Is
a
it
lot of
well-traveled?
ways. Well traveled. I think you've had a lot
speaks
of
well. She
you've had
definitely
a
speaks
lot
well.
of life experiences that we have yet to get to, and so I think that's
Oh god,
there's a difference.
it's such a difference. I fucking hate you. But yeah, y'all check those out. If you're listening to this currently, you have already seen our new playlist. Find Your Note, Cover Me. We've put some of our favorite songs out there by artists who have covered songs that we really like.
Yes.
I think y'all are gonna love it. It was a labor of love. We worked on it, checked it out. So check it out. I think you're gonna like it. Listen to it while you're out here on quarantine.
And we're also going to be working on the YouTube version as well, because
Yes.
sometimes your favorite covers are on things that you can access
Yes.
on the YouTube station. So
tuned.
we'll see how that comes out and go from there too.
Hell yeah. Now, as we have done listening and we're done listening, we are out here in the coronavirus and things are happening. And y'all hear that?
Oh God.
Okay.
Who fixed the fucking gate?
We need some of that DW40. That's
That
back order.
DW40?
That DW40.
Somebody rub some Corona on
Not
the
to be
gate.
confused with the WD-40.
If we rub
All
Corona
that
on the
sold
gate,
out.
will
We
it
got to get the
disappear?
other stuff.
That's the off-brand. The Sam's Club version. DW40.
Not the great value
The
version.
Darkwing.
Members mark.
Darkwing
Dora
40.
Winifred.
The gate's open because coronavirus is sprinkled over everything.
Quite literally.
And it was actually very easy. We always like to throw a little bit of action towards our towards 45. It actually made it very easy for us in the last 2 weeks. Granted, yes, daily he always does something, but here lately with the coronavirus, he is really giving us some really good
Please,
TV.
please be correct. It's called the Kung Flu.
Excuse me, the Chinese virus, the
Or
Kung
the Chinese
Flu.
virus, yes.
Specifically, Donald Trump referred to the coronavirus today as the Chinese virus, and when he was corrected, he doubled down, saying, "Where did it come from? China. It's the Chinese virus." And again, also the news anchor, I think his name is Carson Tucker on Fox, also defended 45, saying, "I think this was the president's finest moment. What's the harm and what's inappropriate about calling a virus that came out of China the Chinese virus? I think he does great. He's doing a great job." And I'm just like, you know what?
Here's the thing. Your president, you know how they say it's easy to just it's ignorance is bliss. Mm-hmm. I think he rests very comfortable in his racism and his stupidity when it comes to these different things. You're the leader of the free world. Why are you peddling that kind of stuff? And there are some Americans who are going to hear him say that and automatically take that out on Chinese people or people of Asian descent and go from there. I don't get it. Like, I just,
Well,
I don't
I told you
get it.
last week, because I haven't seen you, but I was telling him last week when I got my nails done, my nail lady, she was on the phone, and she got off the phone, she was very upset. She was like, the coronavirus just ruined everything. People just say crazy things. Like, I'm not even Chinese. Like, no one in here Chinese. I was like, what you mean, Kim? She's like, people are just so rude and terrible. But everyone in her establishment is either Vietnamese or from the Philippines. And but even there, it's running it. And I saw an article today about nail salons concerned that it was worse, and with 9/11 having people not wanting to go outside and go places and do things. It's just like there are people who are that ignorant, and when you have someone who's in control, like spilling that type of hate and ridiculousness, like it doesn't make it any easier for people who have nothing to do with this.
Yeah.
So it's just fucking grimy. What'd
you say? What'd you say, Kim?
What you say, Kim?
What you say, Kim? What you mean, Kim?
She said, we're not even Chinese. Golly.
I've seen people getting their nails done with gloves on. Like they'll pop their nails to the top and
Wow.
then get their nails done that way.
Well, so
And,
some of that social distancing.
Yeah, because
I would hope so.
you ain't gonna tell a woman that she can't get her nails and her hair done during this time. My cousin is a hairstylist up in New Rochelle, so he's legitimately in the thick of the shit. And he had to cancel a couple of his clients recently because he's not feeling well, and I'm sure they were depressed.
Well, I'm hoping that this is just a salon, getting your hair done, nails type of thing, precaution, because even I was kind of nervous about going to get my hair cut at my barber's place, because I was like, it's a lot of physical stuff that goes on when you're getting your hair cut. But as soon as I walked in, that joker had a mask on, he had on some gloves, and he was squirting hand sanitizer in people's hands as they were getting in.
For a bottle.
I did. I was like, "Hey, bro, where you get these? Sanitizer? Where y'all get?" He's like, "Nah, they for the shop, and I can't tell you how we got these." And I was like, "Cool." So
they're taking their precautions.
Yes.
The young lady that does my hair, she put a post up today. She says, "Please do not book an appointment with me if you are even the slightest bit sick. I will ask you to leave. Like you're not about to be coughing.
Your deposit.
Right? Like you're not about to be up here with me dealing with all that. Like it's not like I'm open for business, but don't come in here." So
I'm open for business, but I damn sure ain't open for sickness.
correct. Tell us about speaking of people being sick and crazy. Tell us about the young lady on the American Airlines flight. Who was that?
So there was a situation where there were two passengers sitting beside each other. The lady sitting in the aisle was a Caucasian lady, and the lady sitting beside her was an African American lady.
okay, America.
Can we name them? I like it when we can name them.
I don't know their names, but you want to make some names up?
I would love to name them.
Okay, so Aaliyah was sitting on the outside, and Erykah Badu had the window seat.
Oh shit!
So what happened was Aaliyah said something to the flight attendant. I guess something happened, but the flight attendants were black males, and she called him a nigger.
With an ER.
I believe so.
Ooh.
To his face.
Bless.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's on a plane, so it's but so much space.
Right.
And now, so the video when it started, it didn't start from her saying it. It started from the altercation that kind of riled up or whatever.
Yeah.
And so the lady, Erykah Badu, okay, let's just call it Erykah, not Badu, because I don't want anybody to think that Erykah Badu was on the flight wilding out.
Right.
Erykah decided that Aaliyah was in the wrong. So Erykah proceeds to be like, "How dare you?
How dare you?
Call this African American man a nigger, and I'm sitting beside you. We've been talking this whole flight. I thought you were nice.
Yes.
Wow.
I thought you
crazy.
better than that." And the lady was literally like, Aaliyah was legitimately like
Was she
doubling
drunk?
down. I don't know. I couldn't tell.
She sounded a little slurred when I was watching
I just
it.
thought it was privilege, but
She was legitimately doubling down.
yeah. So Aaliyah was doubling down, and Erykah was not having it, and Erykah was about to get up in that ass. And then
When you say doubling down, what she was like trying to explain why she was calling this man?
pretty much, but her audio was a little bit more inaudible, if you will. But you can kind of tell that she was basically like going back and forth with Erykah, and Erykah was like, "Yo, Aaliyah, I don't give a fuck. Like, this ain't how this works. Like, you got me all the way fucked up." We're gonna say at some point she probably said, "You got me fucked up."
Right.
And so now we'll call him. Let's call him Jason. the flight attendant. He's being very, very patient, calm, and he's trying to, like, without touching her, like, box her into her seat in terms of Erica, so she doesn't get up after Aaliyah, because Aaliyah don't want to smoke. She thinks she wants to smoke. She don't want to smoke.
Right.
So he's basically sitting there. You can see him, like, in her ear, kind of like seemingly saying things to kind of calm her down.
Like, it ain't worth it.
Like, or like she's about to get dealt with anyway. You just calm down, whatever. Yeah. I'm sure there was some form of a marshal on the plane or something like that could help with the situation. So he eventually helps Erica up, and is still trying to keep her from getting to Aaliyah. Because at this point, she's full force trying to get at her. And so now Timothy comes up to help Jason out, who is the other flight attendant.
The other black flight attendant.
Yeah, because there are multiples. And so he comes up, and so they're both trying to hold her back. She's not, like, trying to jump over him, nothing like that, but she wanted this bitch to know, listen here, Aaliyah, I don't give a flying fuck what's going on. You about to catch these hands, because you got me fucked up.
They were in the air at this time?
I do believe so.
Okay.
And so they escorted her towards the front of the plane, and then Aaliyah continued to just say whatever she was saying, and then the video cut off.
That was crazy. We don't know what happened, but just why are we doing this now?
Thank you for having me to put names to it. That actually made the story sound a lot more fun.
Well, newsflash, people. Just because the coronavirus is out here ravaging people's lives and getting people infected, racism doesn't stop. So it's still going strong. Apparently,
Racism
it's not in quarantine.
Viruses.
But the same rules still apply as they have for the last 4 years. Please don't let your president get your ass beat. Okay?
Well,
please do not.
You heard it here first, guys.
That is crazy. If I was the air marshal on there, and maybe I would lose my job. I would want to. They were like, yeah, we have a disturbance. She called this young man a nigger. I would want to, like, stand up the whole plane and just have my gun trained on her, like on Aaliyah, the whole time, and be like, "We'll talk after we get finished."
I'm wondering if the air marshal was black and was watching.
Pee all over herself, if that were the case.
I'm like, right now you're being a societal terrorist, and we got enough problems going on right now. You're going into custody.
Every now and then you go, bang!
Oh shit! Just say it out. Scare the fuck out of her.
Oh, she doesn't smell.
That seat would be brown as other motherfucker.
The brown note.
You know what I'm wondering? I'm wondering if that young lady was perhaps maybe either on her way to Kentucky or leaving Kentucky, running from this other young man who's out here also wilding out in the coronavirus. Tell us more about that.
Apparently in Kentucky there was an older gentleman. Well, he was in his 50s. Who tested positive for the coronavirus. And normally what they tell you to do is if you test positive, even if you're not testing positive, they want everybody to be in quarantine. This man was like, look, I got too much life to live and get behind me, Satan. I got to go get some things, I don't give a damn. So it required the governor to actually forcibly put this man back in his house and put armed guards around his entrances to make sure that he would not leave the premises.
Oh God!
If you're infected, sir, please stay in quarantine. You don't have to make it out there to bingo. You don't need to go out there and get that buy one get one free from Kohl's. The stores are closed. There's really no place you can go. Just stay home. So
that is absolutely ridiculous. That you have to be guarded at your house. We have to use police force to keep you in your house because you don't have the fucking sense to do it. That's ridiculous.
This wasn't the same guy that threatened to cough on the cops.
No.
I thought that was a woman.
That was a woman.
I was like, no, it was something
Yes.
different. And they were like, I'm positive. I'll cough on you.
This was a young man or an older man who was like, there's not enough movies in the world that I can watch. I've listened to all of you guys' playlists.
All the podcasts.
I got to get out of here and get some sunshine.
Oh, God.
No.
You know what? Maybe he has been taking Jim Baker's fake coronavirus cure that he was selling for $80 on the Christian telethon.
Oh, my God.
What?
So Jim Baker, an already shamed televangelist, was selling what he called a coronavirus cure for $80 on the.
How do you think he landed on $80? How do you think? What do you?
Less than 100 with more than 50.
That's good.
That, and he's probably trying to pay for something, and specifically he needs 1,000 people to pay $80.
That's $80,000. I need that.
Wow.
They got a debt they owe. Jim Baker has already done some dumb shit in the past, and he was like, let me see if I can redeem myself real quick, get these people to believe me. We're in desperate times right now. Maybe they will believe me. So that man took his cure, air quotes, and then it also actually caused him to have a just craziness instead of being cured. Y'all be careful out there. Y'all watching TV.
And if you know the lady in New Jersey who tested positive for the coronavirus and is on the run,
yes,
let your local authorities know just to steer clear of her. You ain't got to lock her up or nothing. She just stay out of her way.
Just somebody get a mama on the line and just call like, please. Susan, come home.
Circulate her picture out there so we can all know. Like,
it ain't worth it. It ain't worth it.
What is she trying to do? Like, why is this lady on the run with the coronavirus? Like, is that like warrants up there? It's in New Jersey, right?
It's strange up there.
The only thing I can think of is that like she can't be at home for some reason. Like maybe she's afraid to be there. Like maybe there's something else weird happening. I don't know.
You know that actually that is a real thing.
No,
I've seen a lot of things talking about
Yes.
people who like their home situation is like
crazy.
It's not inducive to being quarantined because it's like dangerous or whatever. But bitch, tell somebody now.
Well, in my line of work, we have a protocol in place for if someone tells me that they can't work at home because of something like that. We have things that we're supposed to do. People are supposed to notify and to give them a safe place to do their jobs. So that is a thing. But this lady, I don't. But
to be like completely on the run,
yes,
like that's
not Jay-Z and Beyonce.
Right.
It's not in style. It's not fashion
at all.
Y'all keep a lookout. Like, don't buy nothing you ain't supposed to buy. Use your hand sanitizer. Turn off the news. Don't spiral. I mean, turn it on when you need to so you can be informed. But like, don't take a deep dive.
It is very easy to get wrapped up in the news and
Send somebody who got wrapped up.
Yes, and see stuff see what's going on. But at the same time, it's like we still don't have all the information, and it's just like stuff will be trickling out little by little. So it's like you kind of want to hear what the next thing is going to be because let me get off my soapbox. Thanks, guys.
Well, no, yeah, just pay attention. Watch where you get your news from. Please don't get it off of Instagram or Twitter.
And people screenshots of like certain things and posting it does not count as
Correct.
facts.
Yeah.
If you want facts, go to places where facts can be trusted. Do that before you start speaking or living in general. Like, make sure you're doing the right things, taking care of yourselves.
And if you don't know where to go, just drive up 85. They got signs on how to get updates on the coronavirus all over the highway.
Yes,
That's true.
yes. We're gonna close this gate for now. We're not gonna. Actually, we're gonna try to close it because we can't touch it.
We're gonna sanitize it first. Get some gloves.
Can't do that.
We're gonna put it. I got a 6-foot pole. We're gonna sanitize it with and make sure we can get it cleaned up.
I'm gonna just move it with my shoe.
But while we do that, we're gonna throw it out to one of our business partners that we love, who y'all can go check out and see what they got going on once this virus is done fucking with us. We'll be right back. The Comedy Arts Theater of Charlotte, aka Catch, is an all-inclusive gathering space for performers, students, and audiences to play, grow, and laugh. Catch offers regular improv classes for adults. These classes focus on building confidence, learning to say yes, and having a great time. Catch also holds comedy shows most Fridays and Saturdays for only $10. Beer and wine are served. Check them out on Facebook, Instagram, and their website, http://catch.theater. Or go visit them directly at 4200 South Boulevard, Suite B, right here in Charlotte. Check them out and have a great time. And we are back for this shit right here. A little something different. That was a little combination of different and interesting. Ooh. Something interesting for you guys today?
Interesting.
We always kind of like to switch it up a little bit on y'all and give you a little bit of real life out here. And Naji one day last week gave us an interesting idea for a episode, and it was to talk about the F word, failure.
Oh shit!
Not fuck.
That's what that was.
Yes.
Okay.
Not fuck, family, friends, or fighting, but failure.
Or figure doodle.
Or finger. Never mind.
Okay.
We won't do that. But no, it's a very common thing, something everybody deals with and knows about, but has interesting effects on everyone. Do you guys mind if I open up with an exercise as we kind of loosen up?
Sure.
For this. Are you ready?
I don't have any problem with
Look, you run the show. I'm just here.
We're going to have a little exercise here. I want you guys to take a couple seconds and think about a recent failure of yours. Okay? Get a recent failure that you've had in your head. And what we're going to do to get rid of the jitters about failure, to kind of loosen us up, is whenever you state your failure out loud, the rest of us here, we're going to cheer for you. We're going to shout you out. We're going to applaud you.
Thank you.
We're going to make you, just kind of take some of that weight off about your failure.
Okay.
And I'm going to start. Because you fail hard, fail fast, Let's get over here and do it. My most recent failure that I'm dealing with my life is that due to not even the coronavirus, due to God knows what, I have not worked out in a week. I was on about a month streak of doing very well. I'm paying a lot of money for something, and I have not gone in a fucking week. That is my failure. I'm not happy about it. I don't feel good about it. And please, nobody tell my mama. I've not been working out.
So we're supposed to like, oh, hey, yes.
Fucking right, you didn't work out.
Yes. Yes.
Hell yeah, you did that shit. Hell yeah, you didn't do that shit.
You are a trendsetter.
In my own right. What about you guys? How have you failed?
How can I follow that? Recent failure. I recently lost my cell phone after a night of drinking with Naji and C Squared, and that phone was paid off. So as a failure to me and my cell phone bill, I had to get another one because I lost the hell out of that phone.
Congrats, my man. Naji.
Thank you.
That's a real rookie thing you did while drinking. Real good.
Thank you.
That's good.
As I bow.
Proud of you.
Thank you.
So proud of you, my friend. Naji, what about you?
I am struggling to pick one. I feel like I have a plethora of failures at this moment. I really am drawing a blank here. Can someone give me some like suggestions of things that I areas to think about to find a failure? I can't pinpoint it.
Work, family.
Your health. You had a little health scare here.
That ballooned into more than that. We'll talk about that off air.
Got you. All right. Never mind. Yeah. Never mind. Okay.
Okay. Health scare. I had a little health flare. No STDs or anything like that, so we're good to go.
Praise.
But I went to the doctor today to talk about it, and he was like, "Yeah, it's kind of gotten worse since the last time you were here." And I was like, "Oh, okay."
Wait a minute.
Cool.
Wait. Okay. Ooh.
And the failure comes, have you not been doing what you should be doing?
Apparently not.
Well,
congrats.
Congrats
for
on
almost
that.
killing yourself.
Thank you. Thank you.
You know,
Thank
the health scare.
this shout out to my good friend Kevin over at the Comedy RC of Charlotte. If you're listening, you heard the blurb for them. We did this exercise at my job. It's meant to kind of free you up when you feel with our failures.
Jesus Christ.
We tend to think that
You want to update your failures? You want to update your failures?
I do want to update my failure. I forgot to put my phone on silent.
we tend to think that our failures are so big and so large that we don't even want to speak about them or put them out there in the universe. The point of the exercise is to, one, just blurt it out, whatever the failure is. And even with you, like, trying to figure out which one it was, just throw it out there and see what happens. And failure has a negative connotation because it feels like something went wrong. And the point is to let it go, put it out there, and just, you know what, that happened, and next. And the thing about working out, losing your cell phone, not taking care of yourself properly, those are all three things that everybody does at some point in their life. So you're not alone in that. It happens all the time. Those things can be fixed. Maybe you don't necessarily want to fix them in the way that you have to at that time, but they can be fixed. And that's kind of like the point of that. And as we go in talking about failure, like those are three different types of failure. So it's like, what is failure to us? What kind of definitions do we assign to failure? Let's see, Esquire.
Failure for me, I think failure is a letting down of, I don't know, like an action or a desired result that you wanted and coming up short for whatever reason, setting a standard that you wanted to set and you didn't exactly achieve either that goal or reach that standard. And because of that, it makes you feel a certain type of way. So that's a general failure.
I'd piggyback off of that from mine because a lot of that I think would fit into my definition of failure as well. But I would one up you and say that for me, the failure is all of those things when I am in control of doing everything I could have done, but I didn't.
Yes.
Because there's a lot of times, like right now, the coronavirus running around here, taking things away from people that they didn't do anything wrong, but due to the circumstances outside of their control, it's taken away. But it's like my health situation, like that's on me because no one did anything to me. So that's why I would say it's more of a personal letdown.
Yeah.
As I would be the same without going into it. I definitely take it if I did not do all the things that I was able to do. Like with the working out, I'm totally capable. They just decided to close the gym today, which means in the last 7 days, I could have had my ass in there.
You had time.
So I definitely agree with that. Something interesting that Naji mentioned before we started was that our definitions of failure can change. We're all in our early 30s now. So it's like, what does that look like, changing definitions of failure for you guys?
So I think for me, failure, I think my definition of failure is kind of, it's not as finite as it used to be. Like I realize now that as long as you're still alive, you have time to fix stuff. So just a quick story. When I was in undergrad, I had for whatever reason, the hardest time staying in school. And so it was, and at the time, I remember the first time I got suspended from school, like not for fighting, but like for academics. And academics was never something I was like poor in or weak in or whatever, but I just wasn't doing what I was supposed to do. So the first time I got suspended, I felt so like defeated. And I was just like, yo, you're a fucking dumbass. Like you didn't do nothing right. But then on the flip side of that, I realized that it was a big inflection point in my life of like me holding myself more accountable to certain things and then kind of like pushing through that. But in that moment, it felt like everything was over. Like I had no other options, but there were plenty of other options. And from that time, it kind of helped me to develop my idea of failure to be more of, oh, no. Failure is not necessarily the end of the road. It just means that you may have a hard stop here and you may need to do something else, but it's not necessarily to say, for most things, that there's no coming back from it.
Yeah, I agree. I would say the same thing. I think when I was younger, I equated failure to things that would make my parents upset. So now failure for me is more like we were saying a few minutes ago, the things that are personal. If I personally did not do everything that I could, and it doesn't really matter who will see it or who will hear about the failure. It's more about did I do everything I needed to do? And I don't care who it made proud or disappointed. Versus when I was younger, I'm always having my parents' voices in my head. Like, in fact, if the response does not come off as positive from them, then I automatically felt that it was like, ooh, bad marks there. But the older I get, I'm learning that that's not how I have to live my life. So it's a little better.
I think I still have one foot on both sides of being younger and being older. The decisions that I make, and I'm always conscious of it. The decisions that I make and something that may result in a failure, I'm constantly thinking about family and friends and the impression that it makes. And for right or for wrong, that's just what I believe. You know, like career decisions, education decisions. I know how much of a sacrifice that my family put out there for me. So I feel like when I make a terrible move that results in failure, I automatically go back to the sacrifices that got me here, you know, and we can talk about, well, you know, what they would want from me and all this kind of stuff. I don't necessarily think about what they would want from me. I think about the keys that they've handed me, and did I do what I was supposed to do with those keys to whatever decision that I'm making and stuff. So I still kind of float between the childhood failures and the adult failures, because your childhood influences in a certain case how you react as an adult until you learn about how you can get over that. So,
but I think that that's really key, because a lot of times you don't know how you feel about certain things until you find out how you feel about certain things. And that's actually one of the phases in life that I'm in right now, is kind of learning a lot more about myself and figuring out, like, all right, bro, what the fuck do you do? Why do you do what you do? Why do you feel the way that you feel? Like, never would have thought that this would be a conversation I'd be having at 32. I thought that this shit would have happened years ago, but it didn't. And so now here I am trying to figure this whole thing out, because there's a lot of things that I've reacted to in terms of negatively impacting myself from just what I would assume what my mother would think or my mother would say. But if you look at my mother and I right now, like, we have very different ways of going about life, and it's understood and everyone is like, on board with it. But I still have that critic inside of me that is like her voice, or like my grandma's voice, or my sister's voices, like my friends and stuff like. So I completely understand what you're saying.
So when you say feeling or those types of things, I guess the next thing is like, how do you feel when this happens to you? So when the failure happens, whatever that means to you, what does that feel like? Like, what kind of emotions go along with that? Do you respond physically to your failure? That's something one of my coworkers, when I told her this is what we were doing, she was like, she's always telling us to listen to our bodies. Like, what does your body do, or how do you feel during these times?
Well, here's the thing. I'm gonna be completely honest. The failures that can be perceived as failures when I was younger, I never took them seriously. Like, I always knew that say if I was about to fail on a test that I knew that was coming up, I more times out of 10, I probably knew I was going to fail on the test because I didn't study properly or whatever, or I was like half-assing it or whatever. Or if a desired result came out that was a shortcoming, I more than likely have already accepted this is probably not going to be this way or whatever. I didn't experience my true failure until I got older and after law school, really. A lot of people don't know this. Well, some people know. If you know me. I took the bar 4 times. I took the bar 4 times, and I failed 3 times. And that kind of failure, to me, felt like something had died inside of me. And I remember going through that whole process because your emotions are kind of all over the place. And then you find yourself kind of like, I don't know, I can say this, you're in your shower. And all of that is not water that's running down your face when you're standing in that shower. Some of those are tears that you were creating. And it's almost like you're going through a grieving process because whatever result that you wanted, this is an important thing and you failed it for whatever reason. Even if you feel like you did everything that you possibly could, study as hard as you could, but to come up short. So physically for me, I become, I guess that's a physical manifestation. It's like, tears, hurt, and all that kind of stuff like that begins to pour out a little bit because you're disappointed.
My biggest, something that, again, that's probably leading to other things, but physically I compartmentalize things a lot. So I kind of tuck stuff away and I don't realize what impact it has on me from being tucked away until later. And when it kind of comes back around, you're like, oh, that shit hurt. So like today, I forced myself to feel what the fuck was going on after I left the doctor's office. And I'm alive, I'm okay. I'm not going to die or anything from what happened, but it was just something that I wasn't proud of or wasn't happy to have to deal with. But I was sad. I was genuinely sad today. Damn, you let yourself get to this point and you could have done something different. So I just kind of made myself sit in it because normally I avoid it and then eat.
Yeah.
And then I'll go get the donuts or I'll go get the whatever, which doesn't, no matter what health problem you have, it ain't going to help.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's normally how I would react to it.
You and I are the same in that way. And it even goes, I guess, even with time, my reaction to failure has changed. Because it used to be a very physical thing for me. I'd go out, do some partying, do something crazy, get upset, whatever. But now I realize, well, that's 1, not healthy. 2, it's expensive. 3, it never actually works. And that part you don't learn until you get older, that it actually doesn't work to do it that way. So now I do let myself... I've never been the kind of person that takes naps or stops moving. I have to be going all the time. Those of you who know me know I always have to be doing something. I've learned now to just stop and be still. So if I do get some results that I don't want when it comes to something I'm chasing after, I stop and I just let myself get it. Just okay, this happened, and chart my response a little differently. So instead of reaching for a bottle or calling my homegirls, homeboys, let's go do this to distract myself from it. Let me just process what has happened here. And then we'll move forward. And if I still feel like drinking or I still feel like having a good time, at least I'll know that I've processed it a little better. And that's not an immediate action that I take. And sleeping, I'll take a nap in a minute now. If I'm agitated, I'll just lay down. Let me lay down for a second because this is ridiculous. So that's different for me completely.
My cousin does that. He's 7. He's about to be 8. But he'll get he'll think he's about to get in trouble or something. He'll be like, I'm going to go to bed now. It'll be 5 o'clock. He will go to sleep for the rest of the night.
Just let me lay down. Maybe when I wake up, I'll be a little more clear-headed. I can think about this a little differently. I'm going to go lay down.
That's what they told you to do when you was younger. Go lay down.
Well, and then something about failure sapping your energy. And understand, doing wanting to go lay down and all that kind of stuff. Because just other people might be pouring out. Other people just become recluse. I just need to go, like you said, be by myself and figure this thing out and figure out what the hell's going on. If I end up on this pillow for a couple of hours, don't mind me.
Sometimes you gotta bust downstairs to see what's going on with the old Esquire.
Yes.
Right.
See if he's all right.
Sometimes. Speaking, so when we talk about that, an interesting thing about any type of emotion is what story you're telling yourself or what you even tell others even. So, making excuses. If you know you failed, especially people who know you and they know that you've not done the thing that you wanted to do. I know that, like I said, in the past, I would have made up some sort of, not even made up, I would have given the story as like, well, this thing stopped me and these people and this thing and that or whatever. And that's the story that I told to take it away from me not being the issue or something that I did. And not to say that it's always you, because there are other elements, things happening that are out of your control all the time. But the way I assess failure is with what I didn't do. And before, I would blame everybody but me for that. Like, that was not the way I handled it. I would tell anybody that I told about the thing that didn't go wrong, and I would completely deflect it from me. No responsibility in that. So like, I think that's important when you're dealing with failure too, because that affects how you get over it and how you do better in the future. Yeah. If you tell yourself that it wasn't you and you don't take any type of responsibility for it, you're liable to do it again.
Yeah. So. I'm overly blunt, straightforward, and honest whenever I fuck up. I'll come tell you, hey, yo, I told you I was going to do something, I ain't do it. And normally, that is awkward for people, and they stop responding. And they're like, oh, okay, cool. Like, let me know if you need something. There are a few people in your life who will continue to push. Well, okay, well, tell me why you didn't do that. And it's like, well, that was the point of me telling you I didn't do it, so you wouldn't ask me any follow-up questions. Because truthfully, the follow-up questions is when you start to become more vulnerable and open, and you start to actually feel the fact that you fucked up in whatever way. Because I know there's been plenty of times where I've told this fool over here that we made a pact. I said I'm going to do X, Y, and Z, and then I don't do it, and I come back, and I know, like, for instance, we lived together at one point, and I was like, I'm going to see this nigga. I'm just going to go ahead and tell him I ain't do it. Or I went to the grocery store, and I got these cookies, and I told him I'm going to get no more cookies. And I'm like, hey, I got some cookies. You want some? He's like, I'll take a cookie. He'll come get a cookie and be like, so, why'd you buy these cookies? And it's like, you weren't supposed to talk about it. You're supposed to just like roll with it.
Just go with it.
But it's important to have those people who kind of push back on that for you, because if not, you kind of get lost in your own way of going about stuff.
I think that is important to have people, but what about when you're telling yourself about your failure? Can you be as open and honest with yourself? Because sometimes, you can tell whatever people you want to tell them, but ultimately it has to be your truth. And sometimes with these failures, it's like you said, you're coming up with all these different stories. Do you start believing it yourself when you're coming up with these stories about why you failed? And all kinds of stuff. You're like, it was the other person, it wasn't me. Well, did you really do everything that you can? I mean, I thought I did, but but at the same time, somewhere along the line, somebody has said something to you. Well, make sure you do this as well, or have you looked into this? I got it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it
for a long time.
I'm gonna do it. I got it. Look, I got this. I got my plan going on. I'm gonna do this. I did X, Y, and Z.
If you ask my mother right now what my go-to line used to be, it was I got it.
I got it.
She would, to this day, she was like, I know you got it, right? I'm like, Mom, you don't have to keep telling me that.
Oh God!
Well, no, like those things are so important because, like I said, when we can probably touch on it later. But as far as like as you're growing and you realize these things about yourself, I'll slide in a quick anecdote here. When I was initially working on my master's, it was something that I did because I felt like I was not living up to the stories that had been told about me, the stories I told myself about myself. I felt like I was missing the things. People would ask me, "How you doing? What's going on?" People would ask my parents, "Oh, what's Nicole doing? She's still doing X, Y, Z or whatever." And it was getting to a point where my parents didn't have a whole lot to say anymore. And I was like, well, shit, this isn't working out.
Damn.
Let me do something different. So I started working on my master's. And the story I initially told myself was that I wasn't even doing this for me. I was just out here doing this for them. And I think y'all remember at some point I stopped working on my master's for almost a year. And that was because I failed a class. Now, I have been an A student my entire life. Like, I have never gotten less than I think I got a C in statistics in college, and then I dropped it into a B.
This is my first time hearing this.
Okay,
go ahead.
I've been an A student my whole life, so failing a class to that degree, that floored me. One, it was like, I don't even know who this person is. Who is this?
Who the fuck? Who the fuck this person is?
Who is this?
Who is this?
What the fuck is that?
And I used every single excuse in my head that I could give, except for me being the issue. It's like, I'm doing this for y'all. Like, y'all don't even understand. And then when I told them I was, whatever story I told them about why I wasn't in class anymore, I made it. It's just a lot going on. It's work. It's this. It's that. Like and they never really asked me a whole lot of questions. But knowing parents, they probably knew something wasn't right. But when I went back, that same class, I barely passed it, but I did pass it because it was this very difficult class. But this time, I let myself know that I'm doing this for me this time. So when I still didn't get the results I wanted, but it was just enough to still continue, I was like, well, now I know what happened here, and I can speak honestly about it. So now I know this is where I went wrong, and it's okay that it went that way. I still didn't get, and that's how you adjust your experience with it too. Like, it was still a failure for me, but it wasn't a failure that stopped me.
Point of order. So with you working on your master's, and I've never taken a master's class, but I believe, just so the listeners are out there, it's not that you made like a F in the class. There was a certain grade that you have to pass to get.
Sounds like a fail.
Oh no, I failed that course. I failed it miserably.
You thought right.
Yeah,
the listener, he was
listeners,
listening
you
to
were
it.
correct.
And it was, there were a lot of there were a lot of things happening in my life at that time that showed up for me in different ways. But ultimately, I didn't take it as seriously as I should have. And that was weird for me. When I went back and did it again, I had to write a letter to get back into the program.
Wait a minute. So what is? I'm sorry. I really, and I don't want to like pull up any old wounds about this. Well, you old on the other side now. But tell the people you got your master's.
I have my master's in organizational communication, ladies and gentlemen.
So what is it? You have to maintain a certain GPA.
Well, the class, because of the way the program was designed, you could not fail any classes.
Oh, okay.
So you
What the hell was you taking? Like rocket science?
Well, no, it was
What's going on?
It was an international communication. It was something with theory and international stuff, and I just couldn't. The teacher was part of the. I will say that she did have very.
Here it is. Here it is. Don't, we just talked about excuses. No,
when I went back the second time and took it, it was with a teacher that I'd already had, and I felt more comfortable with her. I felt like I didn't. That I could ask her questions and kind of get the answers that I needed. I felt more comfortable talking to her about the things that I was confused about.
Got you.
But also, I was also at that point more vulnerable because at first I was like, I'm smart, I got this. So when I started to fail at it, I was like, what the hell's going on here? I was scrambling. But this second time around, I was like, you know what? If I need help, I'm going to ask. And we're going to figure this thing out. And I still didn't get like an A or a B like I would have wanted. But it was just right there on the cusp, just enough for me to keep on skating through. And all the other classes that I had, of course, were A's or B's. So they were pushing me through. But that first one, they were just like, bitch, you can't be here no more. That's not it.
Can I tell you that I actually really felt you when you said your people will be asking your parents about what you got going on, and your parents was running out of things to fucking say. Like,
yes.
that's deep. Like, did that feel like a failure? Like in itself?
No, that felt awful, and that's why, like I said, one of the reasons I had to adjust how I look at failure now because of how I felt back then. Like the fact that I put myself even more in debt to initially please my parents and their ideas of me and the stories that I'd been telling about myself. But in the end, I finished it for me. I started it for them, but I finished it for me, and that's important. But it sucked to feel that.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, well, yeah, so-and-so asked me about you the other day. I told her, I mean, and you have parents, like, they're not going to make you feel, well, some of them will, but I think they knew that I was struggling. So they'll say, she's working, or she's a manager now, and saying something good, but knowing good and damn well that I'm just like, barely fucking making it over here, losing my shit, student loans, piling up all the crazy stuff. Just not.
Fuck student loans.
Mama, just lie to him.
Right. I'm just telling whatever story she can tell them so that they feel validated in the story that they've been telling about me.
Right.
Like they just let them keep thinking whatever they think, and that's fine. But it sucked. It sucked a lot to feel that because I was so used to like people just lighting up when they heard about me and whatever I was doing, writing books, speaking places, doing this. I'm not doing none of that shit. It's just like, ooh.
And Mama in there trying to read the cue card. She said, cue card 2. She is currently a district manager of sales.
I imagine her mother was out there like Patti LaBelle that time when she had a background singer and she didn't know the words.
That's the wrong card. That's the wrong card.
But I mean, those are the real things, and you have to like come to terms with that. And like, so do I? And at that point, it became okay. Now let me give them a different story, or let me care less about the story that they're telling themselves.
Yeah.
Let me craft my story. That's my story to tell.
Yeah.
And whatever it is what it is. So that was something that I learned during all of that, but it fucking felt terrible.
Yeah, no, there's nothing fun about the realization that you're failing, and when your fail impacts other people, that shit is terrible. I remember I used to get upset with my mom when she would get mad at me for failing college. But and I was like, it's not your money. And then it's like, but she's not upset about the money. It's like she's upset because she put this time and effort into, crafting this individual that has the ability to do all these things, but is just choosing to not do it. And it's like, fuck, man. Like, on the other side is looking back on it. Like, I wish that there was someone that felt close, like felt good enough to like just shake me. Like, as I felt like in 2006, I needed to be shook. Shooketh. I've been in college for a semester, and I came in here and just lost it. And I wish somebody would have been able to shake. I know now that I needed to be shook. And any child of mine, I'm going to figure out. I'm going to shake your ass.
Well, I'm wondering if that feeds into this article that I saw about what they called the sky's the limit, raised to believe they could do anything generation of millennials, which is where we fall. We fall under those people whose parents, my parents were just like your mom and just like your parents, pushing you to be all you can be, do all these great things. You can do this, you can do that. There's nothing that can stop you, yada, yada, yada. And this article that I was reading from the Telegraph was stating how people our age, or within the millennial age range, are being fed that same story, but when they hit a certain point, they're feeling afraid of failing. So they're either stopping and they're not doing anything, which I'm guilty of that. I was actually just talking to Esquire about it. I'm very guilty of feeling like I'm not going to be able to do this, so I just won't. Or they get to a point and they fail anyway because either they talked themselves out of it or they talked it up to a point that it scared them. And these are people who are smart people. Like you said, you've never had an issue with academics. When you got to college and something just fucking happened and we don't know what it is.
Oh, no, I just didn't go to class.
Well, there was something made you do that.
Yeah,
and you hadn't been that person before. Or even you at the bar. And I remember when you were there and just encouraging you, like, no, that's not you. Like, my friend's super smart. Of course he is. He's in law school. He's fucking smart. Like, that's not a thing, but like dealing with that, we're not hitting the goals that we want to hit in this age range. And what is that doing to us? Like, is that something we're actively just not doing things and failing, or are we just fucking it up along the way?
Well, the little bit of the article that I could read, because I didn't want to pay for that subscription. I'm not using $3 for that for the year. So the little bit of art I could read, I remember they did say something about the whole fear of taking chances. For me, I'm still of the mindset that I can do anything that I put my mind to. But what I was learning about myself during that bar period was I will have that thought all the way up until I fail it. And then at that point, I'm like, I can't do this. And I'm still going to have that can't-do attitude, but I'm going to just put it towards something else. I remember after I had failed the first time, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to be an actor. And I'm going to do something else. Failed it the second time. And then I was like coming up with all these things that I could be doing outside of what it was that I really wanted to do and making excuses and telling myself, well, maybe this is not God's plan. And then especially after the third time, well, no, not after the third time. Third time I had a clearer vision, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. But yes, I'm of that. I'll do it right up until you tell me I can't. So somehow that's how I am.
I think that anxiety is much more prevalent, or at least much more acknowledged now. And I think that anxiety can be much more crippling than people know. Because I know that I have a very big fear of failure. But again, due to my compartmentalization with shit, I don't ever actually face that part. It's like the hidden gem that's in there, but I don't get to it. Like, no, you tucked away deep in Narnia, and you are not allowed out, Mr. Thomas. No. So that's just kind of how it's always been. And so then I'm realizing now, like, it's like I think I'm afraid to succeed with a lot of shit. More than I'm afraid to fail, I'm afraid to succeed. Like, what is it going to look like on the other side? Is it going to actually be what I thought it was going to be? Did I do all this shit for nothing? It's just like, well, did you really want to do it in the first place? Because maybe that's the question you should start with. And a lot of these things, I wanted to do it in the first place. You can figure out your reasons and all that other stuff. What's your why and all that stuff. But this whole the failure shit it's next level, bro.
I think that just for the millennials, just because where we are in our lives and where we landed at, number one, and this is just my opinion, I think that the reason that we are so afraid to chase after and do better because of fear of failure is, number one, I think social media has a lot to do with it. We can have these big dreams, but then you're looking at other people's lives and you're believing they're doing a whole lot more than what I'm doing right now. So maybe I need to shoot for that, and I don't need to be staying in my lane and trying to succeed in what I know. And then at the same time, you think about it. I feel like it has to tie in some way the market crash of 2008. Like I felt like that dispirited a lot of people because a lot of things that you wanted to go for, the jobs weren't out there, or they were companies were learning to do a lot more with less, or they're making you go back to school to go do something else, and you're like, I don't want to go back to school, like I just want to do my thing or whatever. I feel like it's a lot of factors in there. Yeah. Some excuses, but I mean, I think it's kind of real.
No, I think that definitely applies to a lot of people. I was personally affected by that. I chose to go run off and do an internship in Florida because I literally couldn't get a job. I could not find anything to do with this big fancy degree that everybody told me I had to have. So it's like, let me go off and do something else, and we'll see what happens after that. And then coming back and not being able to get a job, like, whoa, like what do you mean? Yeah, what do you mean I have to do something else? I already did the thing. So it's like, well, so now you're telling me it's not enough. So then that felt like a bad move on my part. Or even I had friends who, instead of running off and doing internships or doing whatever they actually did, they caught a job right before it went bad. So then I felt like I made a poor decision in choosing to go off and do an internship. So now I missed the boat now. All my friends are living the thing you thought you'd be doing at 24, have great jobs and making money or buying houses. I had a friend who bought a house when we were 24, and I was like, how the fuck did you do this?
Bro,
like, I said, what do you mean? Like, and I'm staying in her house, in her guest bedroom, and I'm just like living with my parents and staying with her on the weekends, just hanging out. Like, how?
At 24, I was living in a coat closet. A legitimate coat closet.
But you were saving a lot of money though.
Bro, that shit was love.
Saving a whole lot of money
though. That shit was
though.
love though.
That money.
But so it's funny you say that because like I when I graduated the first time, I didn't actually have the recession to call an issue, but I couldn't find a job for shit. I was delivering pizza. Legitimately like full-time pizza delivery guy who show up to people's jobs. I'm pulling up to some of my friends' houses who didn't know I delivered pizza, like in my shirt. Here you go. Like it'll be X, Y, and Z. That shit was depressing.
Oh yeah.
But the recession still had an impact on that. It was for years after 2008.
However,
okay,
when everyone around me is getting temp jobs and I couldn't even get a temp job, like. I literally couldn't get anything. I got no callbacks, no nothing. Like I had my resume reviewed the whole nine. Like I couldn't get shit. I was even trying to work at the infamous Duck, and the Duck was like, "Nah, we good." And I was like, "Damn."
But we dealt with the whole looking glass thing before it was real on social media. Like social media was still budding and becoming a big thing then, but we were dealing with it amongst ourselves. Like just watching. Sorry, America. Naji's an idiot.
Don't forget about our listeners overseas.
Yes.
In Italy.
We were seeing our people, our friends, thinking, and of course it goes back to what we've been told all our lives about what we should be doing or what we could have. And when I didn't have it, like that was a real thing. And sitting around listening to your friends chat and talk about what they had going on, I'm just like, did I make the wrong choice here? I chose the wrong degree. I went to the wrong school. I didn't talk to the right people. Like that in itself, it was like a couple years of like feeling underneath everything like you failed. And I had eventually I did have a good job. I might not have liked it, but it was a damn good job. Great benefits and great pay. But I was still very upset, and I felt like I should have been doing more and doing something else. It was not the thing I wanted my mother telling people I was doing.
Gotcha.
So, and that sucked, especially talking to my other friends who had done different or in my head better things.
Yeah.
But as we go through this, I think it's important that we acknowledge the things that can be learned. We've been hitting on them here and there as we tell little anecdotes and whatnot. An article that we read discussed the importance of failure as well as 5 things that we can all learn from failure. That number one thing is experience, which that is, we know I'm not going to do that shit again.
At all.
Yes.
Like that is the biggest, probably the number one thing that you can get out of failing is like, you know what? We're gonna go right next time.
I've been there, done
Never
that.
going left
and
again.
I got that goddamn t-shirt to go with it.
I find myself in my current job. I see a lot of people who they remind me of me at the point in their lives. They were at the point in their careers, their lives, and I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like thank God. And I always ask, like, can I tell you, can I offer some advice if you don't mind? I have to ask permission. They say, yeah, sure. And I'm like, let me tell you something. don't do that shit.
And you know what? That's the funny thing about failure. It's like your experiences may not always translate well to somebody else to receive that experience.
This is also true.
Because how many times have we had our parents tell us something and we're like, nigga, it's 2000 and something. It's not 1987 anymore. They're not doing it. And they're like, I'm telling you what I know. Don't do that. Like, that is not going to work out.
My sister and I had this conversation some months back. And it was more so around the fact that, like, as much great advice as our mother was giving us, we couldn't digest it at the time. Like, we couldn't receive it. So it kind of fell on deaf ears, if you think about it, until you kind of come back to it years later and you're like, shit, that's what you meant. And she was like, yeah, that's what I said. It's like, no, that's not what you said. That's what you wanted. That's what you were trying to give to us, but we just weren't. Stowaway. We weren't there to receive it because we didn't know how to. And I think that's also one of the big things. I was also talking to Mrs. Naji about this today, and I was telling her, I was like, I don't ever want any of my friends, when I talk to them about my experiences or shit that I've gone through, I don't want them to think that I'm telling them this as a way to dictate what they need to do and what they should do. It's like, no, I want you to have the full, unfiltered experience that I had, and then whatever you could possibly take from this, take from it. You got questions, I am an open book. But it's just like, you have to be in a space to where you can receive what someone's giving. And if someone is going to be giving it, you have to make sure that you are giving it in a way that the person can receive it.
That's true.
Very, very true. And as when you're given that information, so with that experience comes knowledge.
Knowledge.
Things that you might not have known before. And even if they have nothing to do with your journey that you're on, you'll never know when things will pop up for you. So I consider that, and I've told Esquire this many times, that time of my life when I was working for my previous company, there was, for most of the part, I thought I was just like wandering, like in Nowheresville when I was out there doing that job. Like I felt like I was going nowhere, doing nothing, and nothing was working out. Here recently at my new job, I've actually been able to use the things that would randomly pop up at my other job, and it was like, oh my God, this is crazy. So this whole time I thought that I was in a place of failure. For me, I was in a place of failure because I wasn't doing what I thought I should be doing. But here it is popping up. I know exactly how to handle this situation. I was like, ooh, I can help. I can fix this because this is why. And here, and people are listening to what I'm saying. I'm able to use the thing that I thought was so fucking terrible to my advantage now. And I think that is like, one, it's, what is it, 180? Like taking a 180, like it looks so... It's crazy to watch it happen. Like, oh man, there it is, right there, just like that. It helps.
I think you're right. I mean, even at your lowest moment or your whatever you feel like is a failure for you, they say if you get to the point where you stop learning, you're ready to die. And it's amazing because just going back to the bar experience, that failure hurt a lot more because at that point when you're growing up and you're telling yourself, I'm going to be an attorney when I grow up. And you go through and you're going to be in it for the long haul and you get right up to the finish line and you fall short, not once, but twice, but 3 times. And then you find yourself, you look at everybody else working in their law firms and you're serving at a restaurant. But then the lessons that I learned, the humility that I learned while working in that restaurant or working with those different people or just being in a position to where those skills matter, how you talk to people, how you treat people, customer service and all that kind of stuff. So when I first did get my first attorney's job, that's what was needed. People are saying, hey, look, we really appreciate the warm touch that you had. Thank you for breaking this down and explain. Thank you for being patient with us. Thank you for doing all these different things. You never know what kind of skills, like you said, those arrows that you have in your quiver when you can call upon them, when you need them. So knowledge is definitely very important in your failure.
I think with all that knowledge for you specifically, how do you think, and I said this to you earlier, like how resilience, that's something that I admire that Esquire has a lot of, because we were there watching him go through that journey with the bar situation and all of that. I just remember thinking like, dude, my dude is like, he's going out here, he's still doing this shit. I remember being so very proud of you. Like, cause I was like, I don't know that I could have done that. Like I failed one time and was ready to never do this shit again and never tell anyone.
Spoiler alert. I didn't have a whole lot of resilience in that point in my life.
But
Like
the continuing to do it though, like doing it 4 times and continuing to step yourself up there, because there are plenty of people who are like, you know what, I'm gonna go be an actor now. I'm gonna go do that.
I am
now.
gonna do that commercial. Funny story. Speaking of being an actor, shout out to working from home. I was working, and I'm sorry, this is not about failure. This part is a success story. Yes. I know we're gloomy, but I just kind of want to talk about the actor thing.
What?
I was working from home, and I was like, just in there minding my business, had the TV on, because you know you got to have your shows on when you work from home. You need that background noise,
the white noise.
And there is a Car Shield commercial that's been coming on TV a whole lot here lately. Car Shield, I guess they do like insurance or whatever, yada yada. And I hear this voice, and they're like, Car Shield saved my life, you know, when I really needed it. And I was like, that sounds like my aunt. And I look up, and it goes to somebody else. And then she comes back on the screen, and she's touching some white man. And she's still talking about how Car Shield. I was like, that is my goddamn aunt, my dad's sister. So I call her on the phone, and I'm like, Auntie, are you in this Car Shield commercial? And she was like, yeah, I'm on the Car Shield commercial. Like, that's me. And I'm just like, Auntie, like, what the hell is going on? She was like, yeah, I told you I want to do some acting and stuff, whatever, yada, yada. And I was able to get a commercial. So I just wanted to put that in there a little bit. Sorry.
Shameless plug.
No, that's totally fine.
I could have been, yeah, but I did want to be an actor.
Well, no, because it takes failing over and over again in different ways, or however you do it. Even with school for you, school for me when I did it, working, it develops something in you that you're not going to get otherwise. Like anyone who's had things handed to them, or with the people that we see on the interwebs where it just seems like everything is working out for them.
Your president,
right? I feel like,
right.
Well, he is now failing, so it's like, you know. This is probably the first time his money's not going to get him out of this one.
Yeah.
But had he failed along the way in a different way, or anyone for that matter, who it appears that everything works out for them, when they do fail, they don't know what to do. But for me, I know exactly what the fuck I need to do. Like this is not going to stop me this time, because that happened before, and I'm good with that. Let's keep it moving. And that's something that develops with failing more often than not. Because otherwise, you won't have any opposition. You won't know what to do when you catch it.
There's a grit that comes with failure. A level of rawness and edge, if you will. And I think that you can either, like, imagine a concrete ball, a sphere, if you will, right?
It's concrete?
Concrete.
Gotcha.
Concrete. Just we wanted to let you know that it's hard, it's solid, it's what it is, but it's smooth. When you first get it, it's smooth as eggs. Okay, so all of a sudden you're tossing the ball up in the air every now and then. You drop it. It hits the concrete. That concrete is going to damage your smooth concrete. It's going to be a little bit ruffled. It's going to have some character to it. It's going to have a little bit of a grit, a little edge to it. And the more you drop it, the more it kind of fucks up. Sometimes it may crack, but the ball, it's still there. So you can kind of still go. And I think that's kind of how I see resiliency, because like you got to keep going. Like when you come to the end, you may not be as polished as you once were,
right?
But you'll be there, and you'll have some character flaws or some character to you, if you will, to kind of remind you of what you went through along the way, and kind of to be able to call back to that.
Yes.
And I think that one thing that's important is everybody's resiliency is different. There's everybody's stage of resiliency is different. So like, for me, if it may look like resiliency if I just get up and sign up for the next test that I failed, while somebody else, we don't know how failure impacted them, but the fact that they got up that day and they went on to work, or they continue to try and move and be normal. That there's levels to the resiliency. So it's not always like I'll just get back up and just try it again.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like you know what? I'm not gonna let this break me. I'm gonna figure out what my next move is, but I'm gonna figure I'm gonna go on, do what I gotta do, and keep it moving.
A great songwriter once said, "If at first you don't succeed, dust yourself off and try again."
You can do that. And as you become more resilient in doing all of that, there's growth there. Deeper meanings, things become different for you, as you're saying. You're developing these little, they might seem like sharp edges, but really it's just a little bit of character, a different way of looking at things. So if we call back to my experience with the class that I was taking, when I took it the second time, the reason why I was doing it was different. So that way, when I didn't meet the expectations that I had still, but I did better than before. And because of my reasons, I felt better about that. I was like, I'm doing this for me now, not for anyone else. So I did not hit the grade that I wanted, but I did pass it. And that was what was more important at this point. And I was doing it for me. So I had no one to be concerned about, no one to let down. And I felt fine because I just wanted to pass it. My mother might have wanted me to get an A and be the one speaking in front of the class, but I just wanted to fucking pass.
Not speaking in front of the class.
I'm so glad that I passed. So and growth will do that for you when you learn to do things for the reasons that make sense for you. And I think that's something that's very important that comes with failing. Because had I not passed it, I just would have been out here not caring how I got it or what got me there or whatever. And I think that's important. So.
I think that after looking at this list, if I did it in a math equation, Naji's very good with math, so this is for him. I'd have to believe that experience plus knowledge plus the resiliency equals the growth to me. Like, I think all those stages of where you are, what you've gotten from your failure, in my opinion, has to equal up to the growth, because you need the experience of what the hell you just went through and understanding that failure, the knowledge, what are the different things that you picked out from that shit, and then the resiliency to say, hey, you know what, I'm not just going to sit in my failure. I'm going to go forward in whatever fashion that is. You're a different person, or as I like to say, you were a little bit better today than you were yesterday. So, yeah, growth.
And all that just pushes you to upping the value that you have for yourself. Like, because that's ultimately what it comes down to is like, are you because growth is a constant thing, at least it should be. And then as you continue to grow, you continue to raise your value. So keep pushing, niggas.
Yeah. And what does it mean for you to get there? Like, put that on. You said something about the why earlier. I love that. We talk about that at work all the time. What's your why?
What is your why?
Find your why, and I think that's going to be helpful for you. You can find it a little easier.
Tell them that it's human nature.
Yes. A couple things that we all think
Does it do me that
are pretty interesting. In the same article, it gave you just some little ways to recover. The ones that I want to just quickly cover or focus on are the leveraging your failure, revisiting your goals, or creating plans for next steps. I think those are big things when you get older and you fail.
And also fuck all the haters.
Definitely fuck all the haters, because anybody who says it, everybody knows somebody that knows somebody that knows something about it.
Which one you on? Leverage your failure?
Well, yeah, those are the last three were the ones that I wanted to really, really hit on, but definitely fuck the haters.
Definitely fuck all your haters.
Leveraging your failures, and I think that calls back to value. What can this failure do for you? Like, how can it help you in the next stage? I think that's very important. If you're working on a group project, like we all work for companies where things happen, I think it's important to be able to say, hey, you know what? I tried this at certain place. This is what happened. Maybe we should try something different, or maybe we should lean away from certain things and lean into this. Being able to leverage what you've already done against what's happening now, I think is super important when you're moving forward. Like, okay, now I got a little something to work with here. So now I know what to and what not to do. Thoughts? Concerns?
I'm be honest with you. I really don't understand what that means. Leverage your failure. Like, I need a little bit more.
Like what you learn from it. Like so
that's part of the knowledge piece or experience.
I think it's kind of the whole gamut of what happened in your failure. So like take away what you take away from it.
Okay.
Like, and go back to it and remind yourself that, I'm in this position right now. I can either go to the left like I did last time, but that fucked me over. But I know I can go to the right, and I know how to navigate the right side this way. So I can kind of think back and call back to whatever it was. I can leverage the failure that I had before to not have to do it again.
That makes sense.
Yes.
That's how I see it.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
That is
makes
exactly
sense.
it. And once you do that, revisiting your goals. So thinking about your goal again. The example I've been using this whole time is that class for me. So when I went back into taking it, I had to think, okay, what is my goal here? What am I wanting? Why am I in school again? What am I hoping to get a job from this? Do I just want to finish? And at the end of it, I legitimately just wanted to finish. I'm not a quitter. As I said, when I did this for me in the end, I literally just wanted to finish and say that I did it, because that was important for me, to not quit. And that became my goal versus I want to make my mother proud, or I want to have something good to say, or I want to put it on my resume, because all those things are going to be consequential if I finish. So for me, the goal was to finish, and that way, every step that I took, that class and any class beyond, was so I could finish the race that I was running at that time.
What about every move you made?
Every step I take, every move I made,
Every single day,
every single day,
you'll be watching me.
I was watching.
I'm going to sub out the word goals with dreams.
Okay.
Since a lot of times my failure was associated with my dream. Revisiting your dream.
It's not as hard as it may seem.
It's not as hard as it may seem. I think a lot of times when you're in failure, you become disillusioned.
Yeah.
And you find yourself saying, maybe this is not meant for me.
Yes.
But there's something about a dream or something that's meant for you. It'll always find its way back to you as a person. Like, this is what you're supposed to be doing. And we do a lot on our social media. We always reference like Sister Act. And I always think about that quote where Lauryn Hill's character was like, how do I know I'm supposed to be a singer? And she's like, well, baby, if you wake up and you feel like singing, you go to sleep, you feel like singing, whatever. She gives that little monologue that, baby, you're supposed to be a singer type of thing. And I go back to me filling that bar 3 times and me feeling like, is this even something that I'm supposed to be doing? But I was trying to find jobs that were closely matched, as close as I could, to an attorney position without being an attorney position. Oh, I'll get in compliance, or I'll work somewhere in the legal department, yada yada, and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, well,
That's not what I wanted.
that's not what I want to do.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to look at taking this test so that I can completely reach the dreams and the goals that I want to have. So that's my piece on that, revisiting.
Climb every mountain for every stream. I'm sorry.
Follow
That's what I started thinking about.
rainbow
Yes.
till you find your dream.
Folks, I want y'all to know, Naji was singing like he was a 3-year-old. If you could see,
He was five.
And Coley was over here like she was 96 years old, watching her grandson sing, and she wanted to be a part of it.
Baby.
That was the greatest talent show ever.
It was.
Okay.
That was when the Jackson 4 became the Jackson 5. Don't
I believe the Jackson 4 just became the Jackson 5.
don't roll your eyes at the ice capades.
I cannot.
And then we go on to Mississippi.
Well, when you go there, make sure you create a plan to get there.
Well, it's Kansas City, but I wanted to say Mississippi this time.
The older you get and you start to do things, you gotta have a plan.
Yeah.
And that's something that I didn't have when I was younger. I was just kind of just out here wilding out.
Shooting from the hip.
Yes. But now even with this new job, I've gone in here not blind. I know exactly what I want. I know where I'm headed. And that has been so very important for me in the past. I think that's why I ended up staying where I was for almost 10 years, because I didn't have a plan. I didn't have a plan until the end. And that plan is carried into where I am now. But I think that's very, very important. The thing that I perceived as failure caused me to be a little more tactical in my movements. And you have to. The older you get, or in general, if you're younger and you're listening, be tactical when you can. I mean, learn the lessons. Like Naji said, we want you to experience all the bullshit. But if you can be tactical, then do it, because it's going to be helpful for you. And now everything that I do when it comes to work or things in my life, I'm making these moves, and they're things that I've planned to do, because they're going to get me to the next thing that I'm trying to do. And that's never something I used to do. Put me this side of 10 years ago, I'd be like, what? Plan? What?
I think that when you're creating your plan mentally in your mind, that plan needs to be written out in pencil. Because writing it in pen, the plan will always change.
Yeah.
And somehow or another, life happens, and you have to be able to adjust to where you're going to. And so all that needs to be written in pen is your name, probably. Like,
You know what? I think that you can write it all in pen. Because I think sometimes it's good to see the changes that were required to get you where you needed to go. Because I think sometimes, because like I know for me, when I think about a plan, I'm very tunnel vision. Like, this needs to happen, then this, and this, and this, and that's all I got. And when it comes time for some kind of like deviating from the plan, it can throw me off. I'm like, fuck, what just happened? Like, I'm failing. It's like, no. It's okay. You're still working towards your same goal. Because I know that for me, if I erase it, I'm trying to like put it out of my head. But I can imagine like writing something out and being like, hey, no. That's no longer what's happening. This is what we're doing now. So if we ever got to come back to this, I tried that. It ain't work. And I moved on to this one.
I can understand that. I probably would just take a different tack for me personally.
I write in pencil. I don't write in pen.
I'd have to write it in pencil, because I would just I get so unsure about some different things, and I'm just like, okay, well, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do whatever, yada yada, and go from there. I'll be messed around and had too much ink all over the paper. I don't even know where the hell I ended up at. So I guess that's why they say when you do your math problems, write it out in the pencil and all that kind of stuff, because you will be doing some erasing. Well, write it in pen or pencil, but either way it goes, have your plan out there so you can see how you got to it.
And I guess as we move into this little final piece, it's important to remind yourself that one, failure is okay, but two, as we did in our little exercise, you're not alone in your failures. I think a lot of times we internalize those things and we feel like this is me dealing with this. No one understands. No one gets it. I'm out here by myself. And you're not. Like, there are people everywhere, every day, falling into some shit they have no business falling into, or they just didn't plan it that way. And here we are now. And it's hard to see that when you're in it, but it's such a real thing that you're not alone out here. And a lot of the greatest people that we consider successful have gone through failures of a huge, have had huge setbacks that you thought, if it had been me, maybe probably would have set me back, because
Michael Jordan got cut from his high school JV team.
Yes, and we hear that all the time about him. And that was I was trying to find the quote, but I couldn't find it. He said was it 300 games he's lost, or how many times the game was in his hands and he missed the game-winning shot. There's a long quote that he has about all the specific mistakes that he has made, and he's someone that people consider the GOAT or whatever. And even in his mind, these are the failures that I know that are assigned to me, but he's still Michael fucking Jordan. So it's like helpful to remind yourself of people like him. Oprah was fired from her first news radio job, news station TV thing, because the white man told her that she was not made for TV.
It was the wig.
Might have been the wig. Might have been that she was dressed like Sophia that day. We don't know.
She probably had the kids.
She's dressed like Sophia that day. She came in ready to work with her fucking purse and shit.
We have a little list. Who has the list pulled up? But there's lots of different people out there, famous people that we know of, who have been smacked in the face with failure prior to being the people that we see. I know Bill Gates is on that list, and
Jim Carrey.
Whatever the business that Bill Gates and the other founder, I think his name is Paul, founder of Microsoft, had a big project that they were doing with the city of Seattle right before they started Microsoft, and it failed miserably. As far as the data that they had to have, but it also helped them learn a couple things, which caused them to create the initial Microsoft platform stuff that is what we see today.
Can I say something really quick?
Yes.
Because I noticed we didn't really do the rest of the stuff that was on that list about recovering from failure. And the number one thing that was on that list was ignoring the naysayers.
Yes.
Fuck all the haters. That's what I was saying.
Fuck all the haters. But I feel like, and maybe we can substitute that word out, sometimes you got to ignore your supporters too. And I say that because when you're failing something, it's easy for a family member to keep telling you, well, keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it. And if you haven't truly revisited your goals, you haven't truly created your action plan, or leveraged your failure, or reminded yourself that it's okay to fail, sometimes you're not able to receive that. And even when it comes to the failure, me failing my bar exam and my mother is just telling me, well, just sign up for it and take it again. You don't know what I'm going through when I'm feeling that. I just told you before, it felt like somebody died in my family, and I'm grieving right now. And this isn't just me going to go take my driver's ed class and get my license. This is something
this is my life.
This is something that I truly have to process. So I think in some cases you have to ignore your naysayers and sometimes ignore your supporters until you're ready to get out of your failure or move forward what you think the best plan is for your life. But
and sometimes I think that along with ignoring your supporters, sometimes you have to recognize when what you're claiming is for you isn't actually for you. And that sucks. That shit hurts. I remember I thought I was going to be a fucking mechanical engineer, and that's what I came to school for, was to do mechanical engineering, until I realized that it's not all math. Like, there's like drawing involved, and I was like, are you fucking serious?
Right.
Like, oh no, and not only drawing, you're drawing a computer, and I was like, man, this is not what the fuck I signed up for.
Right.
So I'm sitting there thinking like, fuck, I can't do this. Like, I don't like this. And people are like, no, just keep going, just keep pushing through. That's one of the big things that kind of fucked me over when I first came in school down here, is because I was doing something I thought I wanted to do, but I didn't. And so, but like, you have to be able to recognize what's actually for you. And that takes a lot of self work.
Yes.
And it doesn't just happen on its own. And sometimes it's that you need to step away from something, give it some time to breathe for you to come back to it. And then other times you need to abandon shit because that's not where you're supposed to be.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you hear that, folks? Ignore your naysayers and sometimes your supporters too.
No, definitely. Yeah.
Some people will follow you to the pits of hell, and it ain't even meant for you to do whatever you're doing.
Absolutely not.
So,
and like you said, Naji said it. Failure. This is what did you say? You said heavy. You said it a while ago. Heavy stuff. It's a big deal. Something you said a little while ago, but it comes in all shapes and sizes. And embrace your failure. Dare I say? Because it will legitimately make you better. It'll make you smarter. And that sounds all flowery and whatever, but that's a total truth. And I can remember not wanting to do this podcast because I was like, what if nobody likes it? What if it doesn't work out? Esquire was finally the one who's like, you know what, nigga, we doing this shit. Get the shit. Bought me a mic. Said, this is what we're doing. We're doing this thing. Let's fucking do this. And at a point now where we're still learning. We learn things every day. We get new information. I think we said we were 88% functional when it comes to running a podcast. And that's a big change from where we were a year and some change ago. And now I'm no longer concerned about, I'm concerned about people liking it. I'm glad that you guys listen, but I'm less worried about whether or not you're going to, because I have more, my goal is a little different. I know what we're wanting to do, and I have more belief in it than I initially had.
And we have a strong team.
And we have the team. Like I believe in the people that we're working with. So it's different for me now than it was in the beginning. And that's the kind of things it comes with time, that growth, the value, what we're putting into it. So whatever you got going on out there, Pod World listeners, get your team out there, get your people working with you, your naysayers and your supporters. Use it however you need to use it. That's going to be up to you to do that. Check your goals, check your plan, check yourself, because self is the fucking biggest motherfucker out here. But that's failure. Don't be afraid.
Can I say one thing about?
You can say it.
Because it sounded like you was wrapping up, and
please don't let me wrap if you're not ready.
You put a bow on it, and I wanted to unloosen it real quick.
Loosen it up.
Let me untie that. Reminding yourself that it's okay to fail, and I think you said embracing failure. I think a lot of times when we have these failures, it's so easy to try and run from them. And like you said, it's so easy to make excuses and put all these barriers in place where I don't want to be associated with my failure at all.
Yeah.
When you have to understand that your failure is just another part of your story.
Yeah.
It's another part of your chapter, and that influences where you go to. And there's a lot of times sometimes you need to just hug that motherfucker. Hug that fucking failure and say,
Get comfortable with that bitch.
I accept you, because ultimately at the end of the day, I'm going to be a better person for it.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, failure. Thank you for showing me what I should not have been doing in the first place, and I can make an adjustment to my action plan.
I remember having a conversation in one of my first real big interviews about the failures that because was one of the questions they'll ask you is like, tell me about a time where you feel like you failed. And I flat out told them, I flunked out of college multiple times, and they were like,
wow. Ooh, okay. Write that down.
What you're saying is we shouldn't hire you.
Can we double check that graduation date, please? Somebody check that.
Yeah, and so basically what I did was I kind of just said, I'm gonna own up to my shit. Like, this happened. Like, it happened. It's over. I graduated. Like, I'm well qualified for the position, but I need you to understand, I know what it feels like to fuck up and fuck up on my own merit, not because someone else did me wrong. Like, I did that shit. And so then to me on the other side of it, it's like, look, I've grown from that. I've learned X, Y, and Z from it. And so it's just I'm gonna hug that bitch. Cause that, I literally I don't say I wear my failure as a badge of honor, but me overcoming that failure is a badge of honor for me. And it's something that's really, really big for me and I'll talk to people all day about it. I don't give a fuck. I don't feel bad about failing in that regard anymore.
Because your story didn't stop there. Your failure was not a period to your sentence. It was only a comma or semicolon or whatever the hell you want to do with it. Like that, those were points. That was a point in my life. And my pastor used to say back in Fayetteville, take a picture of me now, because that's the only time you're going to remember when I was there, because I'm going forward.
Yep.
True
so
that. I like
that is that. So no, that's absolutely correct. And it's something about turning your your weaknesses into strength, and saying, yes, that absolutely happened, but this is what I learned, and this is where I'm going now, and this is where I am.
And if you want to hold on to the fact that I failed in that regard, you want to hold that against me, have at it.
Yeah.
Whatever it is that we were going to do, I don't need to do it in the first place because you don't understand who I actually am.
Right.
Because you don't understand where I've come from.
Yeah.
And that's cool. So have at it. Fuck you.
Yes.
Respectfully.
For you.
Yes. That is this shit right here, folks. Solid stuff, guys. Like it's. I love having these conversations with y'all. Like we learn new things about each other today. I really thought I told you that that's how that happened with my masters. I don't know.
You know what? It's been so many failures. I just lose. I lose what track we are.
Get you people to celebrate with, okay? Out there in Pod World, if you don't have niggas to celebrate with you, up or down, and that these guys have done that for me. They've been my cheerleaders, and my nigga, that shit's not good, but we've gotten through it. So get you some people like that in your life. That has been this shit right here. Failure. It is what it is. Do what you do with it. We're gonna take a pause for someone or some people's whoever. I don't know if we decided yet. Did we? It doesn't matter. People who have not failed us for our FUBU moment. One for us. One for us. One for us.
And this FUBU moment is dedicated to Mr. John Legend. Folks, we've been out here on this coronavirus hiatus, work from home, lay low, get down, running out the grocery stores, buying all the toilet paper up.
Get lacing him.
It's been very dark times, but thankfully there is a little sliver of hope. And sometimes people do some amazing things in the midst of the chaos. John Legend, first off, we're going to talk about his failure before we talk about his success. John Legend, that Darkness and Light album was not it. That was a complete and utter failure, sir. I did not appreciate. Did y'all listen to it?
Oh no, you know how I feel about that shit.
I never could get through. It was almost like Jamie Foxx's last album.
Oh God! Please don't pull Jamie into that. But you are so right,
John. That was after so many good things he did for us, and we were so excited. Like a new album, like coming off Love in the Future, like
because the first four were fire.
What is he gonna do after Love in the Future? Like, how do you top that? You don't.
You don't top it. You go in a different direction. He needs to write that action plan out, either in pen or pencil, whatever the fuck, whatever he got to do to get out of that. But no, we're talking about him as a FUBU moment. So John Legend decided to do a free in-home quarantine concert for everyone on Instagram. So he went live and he was literally at his piano and he was playing all these different songs, some of his different songs, and he was taking requests. The part that was magical was the fact that he had Chrissy Teigen come in there and she's just sitting there with her head all wrapped up and she's in a bath towel looking beautiful, and the kids are coming in there and John is just in there just singing. He's just like singing like it ain't nothing. Like we're literally getting a peek into his living room because he is in his living room. So we commend him for that. I know there's some other artists that are out there doing that kind of stuff, putting on free shows, but that's just one more way of making us all feel connected as we're going through this craziness that we've never experienced before.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. I would also like to shout out, starting off with probably some of Naji's favorite, but also anyone else who is doing it. Steph and Aisha are out there in Oakland County working with the schools and the food banks to give up money and whatnot, getting those kids fed. And other people are doing it here, of course, where we are, but I specifically because I know that you love Golden State and I follow them, so I watched their little IG thing that they did about that. Mm-hmm. So to all of us who were jumping in and helping out, because ultimately it's a lot of us who were affected by the whole no lunch and whatnot, because that's a lot of our people.
That's real good, Pastor.
Our kids are not getting their meals because they're not in school right now. So shout out to them, and even here, I think our county, here where we are, they're doing some really good stuff. A lot of churches, a lot of small businesses are helping out. Mm-hmm. So shout out to all of those people. So it's a FUBU for everybody at this point, because we're in a time where us being together and helping each other out is going to be most important.
I wanna really since you opened the FUBU up to everybody, I want to just say thank you to all of these random musicians who are going around playing "My Heart Will Go On" in these random places. Some guy in San Francisco had an accordion and he was walking through the streets playing "My Heart Will Go On." Wow. In Barcelona,
they're not supposed to be out in San Francisco.
Listen, I'm just trying to tell you. In Barcelona, there was this pianist who was on his balcony, and you see all these people around like on their balconies that he's playing, and some random black guy pops out with his big ass saxophone, and they are going clean off.
Wow.
It was great. It was actually fun to watch. Like I saw it on Twitter, and I was like, that was really dope. It was almost like when you can't leave a house, but everybody's kind of like right there in the courtyard looking at each other, and everybody was just like listening and just like going for it. I'm like, yo, Celine will unite some people.
I'm sure it was doper because you are a big Celine fan.
I fucking love Celine.
There it is.
Guys.
There it
For
is.
those of you who don't know,
I love you. Let's go for it.
Whenever I heard that shit come off, I imagine what I was going through in 6th grade.
Oh, wow.
When my girlfriend broke up with me, and I was in there on the playing Snake on my computer, face wet to fucking Titanic. So my heart will go on repeat.
Shout out to us.
It was great
as a people. Us being black people, because like we said, don't mistake our laughter for not taking this seriously. This is just how we get through it. So shout out to us for coming together, do what we gotta do. Shout out to other people who are allies. Anyone, because we're all in this struggle together, whether you white, black, despite what your president might say, we are all susceptible to this in one way or another. So shout out to people for coming together and making it a little less crazy. It's still real, very, very, very crazy, but making it feel a little bit better. Even from your work from home parties, it's nice to be with people that you care about at a time like this, because you don't know what the hell's going on from one minute to the next. So, stick close to people you love. So shout out to us for doing that.
Shout out to the social distancing workarounds that people have been trying to implement. And one last thing, shout out to the people who are caring for the people who are most affected. A lot of times those are the elderly people, and making sure that they're taken care of, because in this crazy time we're hoarding up on food and detergent and wipes and everything like that. And the people that we need to really be caring about or making sure that they have theirs, there are people that are stepping up and just doing their stuff. So we really appreciate that.
And also shout out, lastly, to the people who are at the grocery stores, like the workers at the grocery stores.
Yes.
I had a conversation with one the other day from a safe social distance.
Step back.
Because he said hi, and I said, hey, how you doing? He was like, God, thank you for asking. I was like, Jesus Christ, is it that bad? He's like, it's been a fucking madhouse in here. Meanwhile, the shelves were pretty much stocked when I was there, so I was fine. But and he was like, people are over here buying everything, and I can't buy anything because I'm on the clock. And I was like, damn, I didn't even think about the fact that there are people who are working in these different establishments that are selling the products that people are running to go buy. They can't even get to it because y'all people are out here literally losing your fucking minds, buying up everything to where a store's got to put a limit on how much stuff you can purchase.
Right.
But shout out to all those people whose jobs don't stop. Nurses, doctors,
frontline.
The frontline folk. Like, shout out to y'all. Like, y'all the real MVPs, because I'm at home working my regular job from my house. Mrs. Naji doing the same thing. But, and these are people who could really be affected, because if things close in certain scenarios, like some of these people will be without. So shout out to them for doing what they're doing and doing it well. Doing it well.
Absolutely.
And while y'all are out here doing it well, as we get the hell out of here, keep in mind, we got playlists out there. By the time you hear this, a new playlist has dropped. One of the essentials for working from home, as we said, is music. So if you need some music, you can always count on your favorite podcast to get you some music. We got a new Find Your Note out there, the Cover Me edition. Y'all check it out. There's some bangers on there. You might get a little tear in there. It's going to take you up. It's going to take you down. It's going to level you out. Check that one out, along with any other Find Your Note that are out there. We've got some great playlists under our belts. Stay tuned also for a guide on which of our podcast episodes you should check it out and should listen to while you're on quarantine. Whether they be for your work day or for hanging out with your friends, we're going to give you some tidbits. We're about 3/4 of the way through season 2, and we've got a lot of material out there for y'all. So we're going to kind of slimline it for you, make it easier for which episodes you should check out as you go through what I've called Ronagate 2020. We out here.
Oh, my God.
It's not good, but it's all good. Guys, anything else?
Stay safe out there. Just follow instructions. Like, they sit here telling us that we need to be limiting our interactions and not be going out in these big crowds. There should be no reason y'all hanging out at the beach or going to
Did
the
you see
club.
fucking what's that?
Florida.
Clearwater Beach in Florida. The fuck was they doing?
I'm hearing rumors. I've not heard any like direct reports that they're saying that sunlight and salt water can help to kill the virus. So I hear people saying, I have no fact behind that.
Okay.
None whatsoever.
That sounds like an excuse
It
to get
sounds
to the,
very
to the
convenient.
beach.
It sounds very
Try to
convenient.
get to the beach.
That's all I know. But that's,
Sunlight and salt water.
They heard the same thing in Clearwater, and that's why they were out there.
yeah, no.
We don't know.
We're gonna test that shit.
That goes
All
back to y'all.
700,000 of us on
Yes.
this 1 meter.
That goes back to y'all minding where you get your information from. This is Knights of the Round Table, your favorite podcast. Signing out one more time. It's your girl Coley.
This your boy Esquire.
It is Naji. I'm trying not to sing, guys, but
Y'all be good to yourselves.
that
Be good to
cover
each
playlist
other.
had me going.
We fucking love y'all. We out. Ow!